This is Shut Up and Get a Customer here on KLRN Radio. Sales insights for those looking for an unreasonable amount of success. Featuring Dan Jordan, the sales energizer. Online at RemedySalesMatch.com. Dan Jordan's advice, shut up and get a customer. Find out more at RemedySalesMatch.com.
We got a full house here today, new guy Nick.
Yes.
This is crazy. You think?
4 folks in the studio, 3.
You believe that?
And our own cameraman.
I know.
Wow. That's
That's
awesome.
Joe. So Joey used to be the producer, but he's been demoted to the and he's not even a cameraman.
He's not even allowed to push
No, it's
buttons.
like Facebook Live. Facebook Live is, people who are real cameras laugh. They chuckle at the Facebook Live people. You got nothing going on there. And we got new guy Nick, but even more importantly, we have a special guest star. You know, back in the older shows of the 70s, you always had on these like the Brady Bunch reunion, they always had a special guest star.
Yes.
Today we have it's Larry Towner's finally back.
I'm finally back, yes. I was off doing work. Well, partially work, a little bit of Reno stuff too, but that's okay.
Reno? Working in Reno?
No, I had to go to the air races.
I call my wife Reno. Oh, the air. Really?
Yes, very much so.
You know, I was thinking of you. I said, you don't know, but a lot of people don't know this about Larry Towner, but he's a big airplane nut. Not that he flies airplanes, but he flies toy airplanes.
Well, he flies airplanes too. You just
do you fly airplanes too?
Not much, not as much as I'd like to.
But have you ever, new guy Nick? Have you ever been to one of these air shows?
Yes, I have. I used to live just down the street from Dobbins in Marietta, so I could sit out in like the park of my neighborhood and watch them. It was awesome.
Not those kind of kind of air shows where people have remote controls and they fly.
That's not an air show.
Yeah,
it is if it's done right.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe it. It's crazy. I went to one of his shows and they like do dog fights and all sorts.
That's insane.
It is. It's crazy. But now I was in a plane yesterday. I was flying home from Dallas. And I'm in this big plane, and it was just a normal plane. I don't know what it was. But I was thinking, what if the pilot, I always have these thoughts. What if the pilot, has a heart attack or something, they call from the back, who can fly the plane, And I'm thinking, I can't fly the plane, but I figured, it's one
Somebody
thing.
can.
How hard
Trust
can
me.
But then I thought,
it's landing.
The flying part's not bad.
It's landing.
why don't they just get remote control guys to do this?
Well, my brother works for U.S. Air. And I will just tell you this. I said, what do you really do? He said, I flare the aircraft, which means that the plane flies itself to the end of the runway, and all they do is pull back on the stick. Serious, true story.
Really?
And really new modern aircraft pretty much can land themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so next time that happens,
you can
when
allay
they
your
call
fears.
who can fly the plane?
Well, I don't know, but
Well,
someone told me
welcome.
I
This
could.
is Shut Up and Get a Customer. All right, the show for individuals, entrepreneurs, and solopreneurs who want an unreasonable amount of success, so you could own your own plane. It's like that old thing from Wall Street. I'm not talking about some $400,000 a year working Wall Street stiff who flies first class and is comfortable. I'm talking about someone who's rich enough to have his own plane, rich enough not to waste time. $100 million, buddy.
I'm talking about Sam Walton, who flew his own plane from store to store, and he only had about $125,000 in that airplane. But anyway, that's beside the point.
That's what can happen to you if you improve your sales skills, new guy Nick, and that's what this show's all about. Got it?
I could fly my own helicopter in here to the station.
How cool
for
would
the
that
Dan Jordan
be?
Show? That
How
would be
cool.
sweet.
You have your own little pad there and all that stuff.
It's up on the roof.
And it can happen to you.
With next to the pool.
When do you get yours?
What?
Your
plane?
aircraft. Yes.
Well, I have a toy one just like you, so we're in good shape. But at least I'm still dreaming. That's the thing about sales. Every day you've got hope. You don't need to acquire any kind of assets and then resell it. All you need to do is just make the deal. That's what salespeople are. They broker deals. They find somebody who needs something. They have the product that can solve the problem, and they cash in on the middle.
That is correct.
It's the greatest. It's the greatest thing in the world. Every morning you wake up and you think, why are people doing anything else?
Because some people can't handle the rejection.
They can't handle success. They can't handle getting their own.
They can't handle it. Someone might say no.
I'm putting my glasses on top of my glasses.
I never hear the word no.
And I always heard, I had that little sales job at a retail store, and it was always, for every no you get, just remember, you're one step closer to a yes.
Well, yeah. Of course. But anyway, so one of the things that we wanted to talk about was getting to.
He's trying to segue
I'm
me
segueing him.
into the topic
if somebody
of the
doesn't
show.
keep him on
no,
topic,
we can't do that.
You'll find this out.
He
if you
thinks
don't keep him on
that
topic.
I'm not tired today. Usually, by the way, you know why I was away for a couple of days and I came back and people always complain, oh, I can't sleep when I'm away. You know why they can't sleep when they're away?
Because they don't close their eyes.
Because they're not working. They're just not working.
I get it.
Yeah, I fell asleep. When was the last, new guy Nick?
Yeah.
When was the last time you fell asleep because you were totally exhausted?
I'd probably say sometime last week after my first week here and the information overload.
You see? And you were totally exhausted.
I'd say last night.
And you slept really well, right?
Yeah.
So that's it. The secret to have really good sleep, everybody wants, the secret to have really good is work really hard.
Or work really hard. Use
That's
your
it.
brain.
And
Use your
not
brain.
only that, you know what's going to happen? You can cash in on it.
Yeah.
You'll make some jack.
You
People
think?
worry about not working hard. That's the dumbest thing. That whole, work smart, not hard. I had this guy. His name was Pierre. This is a true story. His name was Pierre. He worked as a stockbroker, and he was from, where was he? Lebanon. He was from Lebanon. He was a Lebanese stockbroker. So couldn't speak English. The guy, he could say buy. And that's all. I got to buy. That's all he could say. The guy, and it's the craziest thing. He was like a farmer back in Lebanon, so I guess he was used to working hard. I'd get there, but I guess I'd leave. I'd leave at 5, 6 o'clock, like everybody else is leaving. Pierre's on the phone calling. He was doing cold calling back then.
He's doing West Coast.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I said, "Who you calling?" He goes, "I call California." That's his big thing. Because we call, and he had 3 more hours. We all left. He was working 3 more hours. I'd get there in the morning, 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning, whatever. Pierre's on the phone talking to people. Call. I go, "Pierre, who are you calling?"
England.
He goes, "I call Europe." The bastard was calling Europe. He was getting like a retail payout. He was doing these wholesale trades with banks, and he was getting a retail payout. I watched Pierre, with my own eyes, become a millionaire in 2 years. The guy couldn't speak English.
Well, a lot of people in America can't speak English.
Here's what I learned from Pierre. You work hard, and you'll look smart.
Yeah.
Forget about working smart. Now, doing both. You got to work hard and smart. All right, you know what, you guys? It's time for the Jim Rohn quote of the day.
Oh, my God.
All right, the Jim Rohn quote of the day. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment.
That's correct. Jim Rohn always is correct.
Discipline. It's just so good. It's just so quick. That's all you need is discipline. What are you doing when you're waking up in the morning? All right. So one of the ways that you're going to get customers, and people have been veering away from this a million times.
Why?
Because with the computer, I guess, and people texting all the time and worried about it, they really just don't know how to have human contact anymore. But the ones who do, the ones who understand human relations and the one who practice that are the ones who are the most successful. And that's what I need you to be there, new guy, Nick.
Okay.
Got it?
Working on it.
So what you need to be doing is networking, but networking the right way.
That's correct.
Do you know what that is? Do you ever go to networking meetings there, Larry Talbot?
I do.
Yeah?
I do.
Which ones? Where
go
do you
to
go?
Well, it just depends. We do, we'll do Rotaries, we'll do business to business. We do a lot of things within specific industries. So we go to, like, the last one I went to was the Georgia On-Site Wastewater Association meeting.
Wastewater?
Yes. I'm not going to talk about that because it's a nasty.
We always go to the lowest common denominator when I deal with
It's a great industry. It's a huge industry. You have no idea. Guess what people never stop doing? Okay, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. There you go. They never stop. That in the trash business, they never stop throwing out trash.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to be in the trash in the wastewater business.
Well,
so you go there. So who do you meet in that business?
Well, we mostly meet, when we go to those meetings, we meet operators that actually handle either portable toilets or septic systems.
All right. And do you have a booth or something? Is this like a convention where you have a booth, or are you just milling about?
Yes, both. Just depends on the particular meeting.
All right.
We
good.
go to
So how do you do it? How do you start these conversations? I mean, how do you start a conversation?
In a normal
Everybody's in the way. Hey, how's your bowels today?
No, we don't talk about that. These meetings are largely about septic systems mostly, so and how to care and maintain for a septic system.
All right, well, listen, the thing is everybody goes to these network meetings, and everybody's really lousy at these networking meetings. And there's a few simple rules that if you follow them, you will dominate, and you don't have to worry about asking people for business. They'll be coming to you, asking you what you can do for them. And I'm going to share with you those 5 things when we get back from the break. Until that time, don't be ashamed to go to my website or just email me, dan@danjordan.com, because I got something for you which is so good. This little cold calling course that I put together for you, free, ladies and gentlemen, free, is better than anything you've ever had before. More customers, get your fingers up.
Don't we have to tell them that they have to mention today's show for that? Just say yes.
Mention today's show on networking, and that'll let us know, and so we can pound you with more emails after that.
No, we're not pounding anybody with any emails. We're tracking our business.
See you.
We want to hear who really listens.
My friends, you're listening to Dan Jordan, the Sales Energizer, right here on KLRN Radio. Head to RemedySalesMatch.com after the show, but only if you want an unreasonable amount of success. And no purchase required. Free information, folks. You just can't beat it. Now, back to more of Shut Up and Get a Customer, right here on KLRN Radio.
Is that little nod of the head say I have to get going here?
Yeah.
See,
Whenever you're ready to, Dan.
Okay. Otherwise, we could listen to the musings of Larry Towner here.
That would be a boring show.
I'm just impressed that I get to use the word musing. So when was the last time you did that? Use the word musing.
You've been reading your vocabulary words, I can tell.
I have not.
Yes, you have.
It is.
You're not even telling it.
It's tapes.
It's
Yeah, you listen to it on your car.
That's right.
Oh, I should have said tapes. I guess CDs. I guess MP3. I don't
MP3s,
know.
which,er
Yeah. Actually,
recordings.
I can't believe the amount of people that don't utilize their time in their car in learning more sales skills or any other skills. It's insane.
Right? If you spend a half an hour a day in the car, or half an hour each way to work, right, in the car, that's 1 hour a day. That's 5 hours a week. That's a university semester course in 1 quarter.
That's right. And new guy Nick, what do you do? Putzing around. You're just driving.
New guy Nick's out there. He's looking, going, "Ooh, that girl next to me, she's hot."
Right.
No more. It's man, I wish I had that car. Oh, that's a nice one.
So the networking. Here's the first rule of networking.
We were talking about networking, by the way.
Write this down. The first rule of networking that nobody does. When you go to a networking meeting, and we'll talk about the ones to go to after, but when you go to networking meeting, when you have to get there, first.
That is correct.
You want to be first, not because you want to show off, hey, look at me, I'm first. Because what you do is you stay there at the door and you welcome the other people that come in. So here they think that you own the place. All of a sudden you have a position of authority. People start coming up to you. Where's the bathroom? You'll direct them to the... It's like you didn't pay anything for this thing, and yet you're getting all the rewards as if you did.
But do know where the bathroom is.
Yes. This guy always goes to the bathroom. He talks about wastewater, potty,
I do not.
bowels,
I'm just saying. Look, if you're going to go do that, if you're going to take your advice, listen to me, because if you're going to take your advice, you have to know. If you're going to own the place, you have to literally own the place. So you have to know where people are going to sit. You have to know where the water fountain is. You have to know where the bathroom is, and you have to know where the refreshments are.
Which is why you get there early enough to get a quick run around before anyone shows up.
There you go. See, new guy Nick's got it. He's quick.
I got the idea.
We like this.
Paying attention.
10-4.
Rule number 2, as I put my glasses on top of my glasses. Be in the right place. Listen, you want to be in the right place at the right time? Who wants to be in the right place at the right time?
Me.
Okay, listen. This is an absolute way to be in the right place at the right time. First, go to the right place. And then stay there. Eventually, the time will catch up to you. But first, you got to go to the right place. Too many people are networking. I do these networking groups with job seekers.
Yes.
Who are trying to sell themselves. So it's not like it's so out there when I'm talking about this. So they go to these networking meetings, and they go to these every week. They go to these meetings with people that need to find jobs.
So they really never get anywhere.
Exactly, because no one's going to hire them. You got to go to the place where people are going to hire. What about all the clubs? Like, let's say let's say you're dying to get into the piss business or the net or whatever you're talking
wastewater. It's the wastewater industry.
Okay. Let's say you're done. You got to go to those places because that's where you're going to meet all those people.
Well, yeah, you have to work in the industry, right?
If
you want to work if you're going to do radio, do you go down to the television industry? No,
wrong place.
Kind of, but wrong place, right? It's similar, but it's not the same.
Correct.
It's not ideal.
But
right?
people always are much more comfortable hanging around with people in their exact situation. So if they're not working for whatever reason, they hang around people that are not working. I'm just saying get into the right place first and stay there. It's if you can make friends with people who aren't working, if you can make friends and people outside your industry, you can just as easily make friends with people inside the industry that you want to work in. So make sure you do it. Step out of your comfort zone and get to the right place. Okay, that's step number 2. You want to know the third step?
I do.
All right, so do I. Let me read this. When you get there and you meet some person, you got to be prepared.
You mean like have a card or something with your name and phone number on it?
Yes.
You actually have to know what you're talking about.
Yes, but Joey.
Yeah.
When you used to be the producer,
yes,
I didn't have to deal with all this riffraff. They're cutting me off.
I'll give you some riffraff.
My brain goes into 1,000 different directions, and they cut me off, and now I got to start from zero again.
So
do you realize
you need this?
What is this?
There you go. That's a chip.
When you want to work with somebody who has ADD. It's very careful, make sure.
That's why we're working with you.
I'm all forgot. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to have to read this thing again. Okay. You got to know, when I'm saying you got to know what you're being prepared, when I say you got to be prepared, you got to be prepared not necessarily with your stuff. You know your stuff. Right. You got to be prepared about them. Mm-hmm. Well, you got to know when you're walking in exactly what's your line. What are you going to say? When you go pick up a girl, you got to think you're walking in there with a plan. You're not going, I'll figure it out when I get there. You've already lost. So you got to know what you're going to say. And if you're too busy talking about you, which they really don't care about, what do you think they want to talk about, Larry Towner?
They want to solve their problem.
They want to talk about
themselves. Yep.
So you start with a question. Be prepared with good questions and act in. Oh, really? How did you get started in that?
Yeah.
Believe me, they keep on going. If you find out there's a need for you, then you can talk about your garbage. But I'm telling you, it's 90% them, maybe 10% you. That's like my dad taught me. He said, if you want a happy marriage, he goes, don't shoot for 50-50. You for 70-30. You give 70 and just hope for 30 back.
Keyword being hope.
Yeah,
hope. And the 80-20 rule or 90-10 rule really works in that case. But anyway.
That's what reminded me of it, because I'm more like 90-10.
It's 90-10.
Yeah.
We'll be honest.
But if the other person is 90-10 also, you've been married.
It works.
You've been married forever.
Yep.
His other advice is, he said, what did he say?
He said Danny?
No. He said Danny? Yeah. He said Danny. In business, you can make 1,000 mistakes and you can overcome them. He goes, you make 1 or 2 bad personal mistakes and you'll pay for them for the rest of your life. How's that? The man knows what's going on.
He was a wise man.
So network with right. You know what? There's 2 more here. But we only have 4 minutes. Can you believe we only have 4 minutes left?
Well, then hurry up.
People are going to have to. No, people are going to have to send me an email or go to remedystaffing.com. Go to my website. Send me an email. Say you want the networking tips and tricks, and we'll hook you up there, along with the cold calling thing. Because, and the reason for that is, new guy Nick, I want to tell you about the sales story of the week.
And now, the sales story of the week.
So I'm away this week. This week on some training thing, which is good for me. I like getting away. It's kind of exciting. And by the way, you always don't go to these conventions, and you don't kick yourself after because you don't realize how good. But if you ever do go to these conventions, you really do get a lot more than you would expect to get.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you just have to pay attention, be awake.
Because of conversations like you have with the people. I mean, so one guy that I met, and I don't want to say his name because I can't really pronounce it, but it's Shmuley, something like Shmuley, a great guy from Israel. And I asked him how he got into this business. He's got a great little staffing firm. I shouldn't say little, it's not so little, but in Virginia Beach. And it's a guy who still has a nice little accent and stuff. So I asked him, I said, how did you get into this business? He goes, when I first came to this country, He was married, so I go to my father-in-law. I go, what should I do? And the father-in-law had a little insurance company. And so he says, I'll work there, as a salesperson. Couldn't speak English. This is just like Pierre.
It's another one.
Really couldn't speak English. Selling insurance. He goes, so I became an insurance salesman who couldn't speak English. The guy was the rookie of the year.
Of course.
And I'm thinking, how does this happen?
Because he had to really listen to his customers to try to understand. But anyway, keep going.
Exactly.
Oh, that was a guess. That was a wag.
That's exactly. He would go there. And the second thing, he would allow, this is what he told me. He said, I allowed people to help me.
Yep.
People want, so I went to the community. Of course, he's from Israel, so he went to the temple or the Jewish community, explained who he was and what he was doing right now. And he said more than a few people started doing business with him. And they say, we're going to go with you and we'll get this started with the promise that you do the same thing for someone else when they're getting started.
I like that. I'm a big proponent of that.
Isn't that
Me
good stuff?
personally, yeah.
So they asked him to do that, and that drove him and it inspired them to help. And so he's done that in the past. And so that's it. People think that when you go into business for yourself, it's hardlining, all about the money.
No.
It's the exact opposite.
It's because you love it.
It's because you love meeting people and doing things for people and living within that community. And so that's what's going on. And that's all what sales is, right, new guy Nick?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you have any final thoughts for the end of the show here?
Final thoughts?
My question to you is, because it's all about questions, when are we converting you over to a sales guy? Because everybody that we've trained in your position is now out selling.
Yeah, I know.
Really?
All of them. They've all left. They go, dang, I'm going, man.
Yeah.
DJ's got me rocking.
What's exciting is always new things. I went to a meeting the other day. You ever get in a meeting, they put you in a conference room, it's just you and the other guy. Where do you sit? Do you sit at the head of the table?
I do.
What if you get in? I know.
Just sit in the front of class,
You
right?
never know what to do. That's right. So I'm at the head of the table. The guy you're selling to is, all right, listen, I'm the Deej. You go to my website, RemedySalesMatch.com. Send me an email, Dan@DanJordan.com. Tell me you like the show about networking. I'm going to send you this $150 value of a cold calling course. I'm the Deej. Can't wait to talk to you next week.
You've been listening to Shut Up and Get a Customer with Dan Jordan, the Sales Energizer, your source for insight in business, sales, and life. Connect online at RemedySalesMatch.com. And remember, good fortune is at your fingertips. You just have to focus on one thing. So shut up and get a customer. RemedySalesMatch.com.